Hi, and welcome to SimpleSpiritualityPH. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Regine. I am an intuitive, manifesting-based tarot reader. I'm a certified Reiki healer and an overall lightworker. And I'm coming to you today from the garden, so if you hear random sounds, it's all in the experience. Makes it richer in my book. So if you like this video later on, please give it your thumbs up. If you have any comments or suggestions, you want to say hey, just comment down below. If you would like to receive notifications on my new videos, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you would like your very own tarot reading or Reiki healing session with me, online for now, of course, here are the details. Alrighty, so let's talk about toxic positivity. I am not quite sure what the technical definition of toxic positivity is, or if there is a clinical definition of what toxic positivity is, but I have actually experienced it in the past, so I've experienced it firsthand. And from my experience, what it has been like is basically being told to be positive when I couldn't feel positive, being told that everything will work out, even though I couldn't see it quite yet, even though I wasn't there quite yet. And yeah, basically being told to be positive when I was in a negative state in general. So this is actually very tricky. There are different sides of a coin when it comes to toxic positivity. And the one side of it is, it stems from something good. And that is the intention of redirecting your focus to something good, right? The reason why toxic positivity exists in the first place is because we want to redirect ourselves from negativity to positivity, right? And there is a bit of truth to it when it comes to discipline. You will never be able to succeed if you don't take the first step, so to speak. And you will never be able to hone that habit of redirecting yourself from negative to positive if you don't continuously do it, if you don't catch yourself in those little pockets of times of those little pockets of negativity, right? When you find yourself in that negative situation, you always have to be able to catch yourself, right? But then there's another side of it, which is properly addressing the negative, and in that sense, being ultimately human. So from my experience in the past, and from my perspective, and this is also what I do with my clients whenever they experience something really, really negative, really charged in their lives, really just downright crappy in their lives. The first thing that I really suggest to do, and this is what I've done also, is to just acknowledge that human moment of yours. If you find that you're in a situation where you really just can't see the silver lining just yet, that's totally fine. Do it for a day, do it for a week, it's perfectly fine. As I've said again and again, negativity is actually kind of like your GPS. Treat it as you would Waze, You're at a certain point in time, you hit traffic, which is the negativity. Okay, now that you know that this part is traffic, where do you go next? Right? So treat it as you would a GPS. Use it to your advantage because that is what it's there for. The negativity is there not to humiliate you, not to make you feel bad about yourself, not to punish you even, because sometimes it feels like it's punishment, right? But the negativity is there in order to make you clearer on what you want. And Abraham Hicks tells this too. Abraham Hicks says it too, that every contrast is actually a process of refinement. It's showing you what you want to experience more. It's asking you, what do you really want? Please clarify what you want, right? So on the onset, the negativity that you're experiencing, embrace it to a certain extent of knowing that it's part of being human, of course, you will, it's really impossible to be positive all the time. But at the same time, you don't have to kind of subscribe to that continuous cycle of negativity. And that's where the second part comes in. So it's really after you've acknowledged the negativity and after you've felt it for a while, after you've had that human moment for yourself, and after you've allowed yourself to kind of process that, process what it's trying to tell you, process what it is that it's trying to make you really clarify and define on, refine on, that's when you start to build up on the positivity. Because like I said in the past, in this video at least, you're never going to be able to form that habit of redirecting yourself from negative to positive if you don't take the first step. And you're never going to be able to create that habit of redirecting yourself, again, from the negative to positive if you're not very disciplined with yourself. So this does entails a kind of discipline. There's a motorcycle. A kind of discipline. It's asking a certain amount of discipline from you, a certain buy-in from you. And some people are playing basketball outside. They're having fun. So in the context of positivity, the reason why it goes negative, or the point at where it becomes toxic is when we don't really use the negativity for its purpose. Okay, so I finished checking. I don't have a delivery. It was for the other house. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, the point where positivity becomes toxic is when you don't allow yourself that kind of like human moment, where you don't allow yourself to feel that initial negativity, and where you don't really process it and just move on to the part where you're trying to be in the solution phase, or you're trying to redirect yourself to the ultimate positivity, right? And not really minding anything, denying everything about the negative experience that had just happened to you, when in fact it was really important. In fact, it was the actual thing that's going to make you clearer about what you want. It's actually the tool that's helping you to refine what it is that you really want. Basically refining your key asks for your life, so to speak. And so that's the way that I tell my clients how to respond when it comes to a situation, and how to really avoid toxic positivity. And I've done this for my life as well. Whenever I experience something, I just acknowledge it. Whenever I experience something negative, I acknowledge it. I take feedback from it. I take the information of it and really ask myself, what is being asked of me right now? What kind of thing is being refined right now because I'm experiencing this? And then from there, that's when I move on to redirect myself from the negativity to the positivity. Now, sometimes we aren't really aware that we are being toxically positive. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know if there's a word toxically. I haven't looked it up, but it sounds right. So sometimes we aren't aware that we are toxically positive. Some of the ways in which this happens is when, for example, I know of someone who, whenever I share my stories with, like my rants with, or whenever I just share anything negative with, like, for example, I experienced something bad that day and I just needed to get it out, so I'll share it, right? So I have a friend who actually just dismisses everything that I say. I will tell my story, and then this person will blankly stare into space. And after I'm done talking, it's either they go quiet and change the subject altogether, or they say things like, well, that's life. And or even say some things like, what do you call this? It'll get better, don't worry. That's like one of the worst things that you can do. That is the epitome. That is the ultimate epitome of toxic positivity, because it's really belittling your experience, right? When in fact, every experience can be potentially important to you, and especially a negative one, because it's asking you to refine what else you want to experience. It's asking you to be more clear, right? So it's belittling you and invalidating your entire experience, and at the same time, you weren't, I mean, for me in particular, I didn't really feel like I was listened to. I didn't really feel like that person wanted to help me or wanted to hear my story. Oh, sorry, a little about the fly. I'm outside, so any kind of insect could just, drop. So yeah, that's one way that you could actually be accidentally doing, or rather engaging in toxic positivity, and actually forward that toxic positivity. Another thing that you could be potentially doing this is when you try to deny as much as possible the negative thing that has happened, that has transpired. You don't really have to deny it. You have to process it, because the only way out is through, right? And you'll be able to get through the other side of negativity much faster if you just process it. That's really the fastest way. But if you deny the negative thing that has happened, or if you deny the experience all at once, and completely just disregard the existence of it, a lot of times you might find it difficult, and it might bite you in the future. It might bite your back in the future, because the learning that you needed to get from that experience was not actually learned, or the feedback that you needed to gain from that experience was not actually gotten. So this thing is just going to continue on and on in a pattern until you finally come to a conclusion of making that decision, being more refined, being more clear about what you want. Because again, all negativity is a tool for you to use to refine what it is that you want to experience. And if you don't decide at that moment, it will continue to show up in your reality, forcing you to be clearer about what you want, be more refined about what you want. All right? So don't try to deny it altogether if you can, but don't also kind of like wallow in it, You also have to put in a good amount of discipline. You have to invest in it. And that's what it means to commit to yourself. I'll link my video up here about committing to yourself. And yeah, so if you experience something and you just deny it altogether, that's another way that you're trying to do toxic positivity, or that you might be accidentally engaging in toxic positivity. Actually, those are pretty much the major categories of what it means to engage in toxic positivity. If there are any more examples, I'd love for you to kind of like describe it down below, leave a comment, and yeah, basically that's it. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope that you're able to catch yourself, have your moment, have your human moment, and find the motivation inside of you to, after having that human moment, to get up and decide better for yourself, make a more refined decision, make decisions if you haven't made so yet. Be more clear about what you want in general without sacrificing yourself. So yeah, that's it. Again, I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or suggestions, you want to say hey, comment down below. If you would like to receive notifications of my new videos, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you would like your very own tarot reading or Reiki healing session with me, online for now, of course, well, here are the details. And I will see you guys next time. Stay happy, stay healthy, Stay positive, non-toxically. And yeah, ciao for now.